you how the afternoon changes. I got absolutely tired out cleaning and organizing that shop, and Guy came over here to check out the hay field. We rode our bikes over yesterday morning and he decided it needed tedded again, because we have this area here that was second cutting and it was as wet as it was the day he cut it. So now these two are out here raking. He was talking how much he liked having the baler follow right behind it. I think him telling me to come over and get a video might have been a coaxing to get me on the tractor so he can go get the baler. A lot of work to do before dark, and there's a 90% chance of rain tomorrow. The sky was cloudy and the air was damp for a long time today. If you don't know about haymaking, you can really control the moisture in your hay by raking and tedding at different times of day. So if your hay is dry, you would want to get it baled earlier in the morning or later in the day when the night dew is setting in. And that'll help avoid having too, like if it's on the dry side, you can do it later. If it's too wet during the day, you're going to end up with heavy bales, higher moisture content. They say for the small bales that we're doing, about 25% is good. Now, we were out here collecting bales and had the stack of hay. I took a moisture tester to it yesterday, and the bales that were slightly damped on that are in the barn say 28%. So they're a little higher moisture, and I knew that, so I left them to the front of the barn to get fed to the cows sooner rather than later. Hopefully, because they're not out in the sun, they're not going to get, you know, moldy or anything, but they definitely were heavier bales than usual. And if you don't know about moisture testing, read up on it a little bit. They have a probe that is totally portable. You can bring it out to the field, bale a bale or two, or even just stick it into the windrow, and it'll tell you, you know, how things are feeling. Experienced farmers kind of do it by feel, by scrunching the hay up in your hand, by bending the stems. Feeling what the stems and the leaves and the grasses are all doing can tell you about the moisture without spending a couple $100. And that's pretty well the way that my husband and father-in-law have always done it. We did have a moisture tester from years ago from doing round bales, so I got it out to give it a try. Now this field is unlike a lot of our other fields. This is a lot of sand in our hay field, where our crop fields have been a lot of clay, and they've been good for growing crops. Where this is just great for this, because we had corn on here one year and we were having to suck water up through PVC pipes and a trash pump up to here and use these great big sprinklers to spread the water out and even just to flood the ground. So the hay was a nice choice for this field. So if you wondered, that's why sometimes a job doesn't get done in a day. You have to take breaks to do other things. He says he's close enough to done. It's just a few more passes, so he's going to keep at that. I got so tired. I don't know if it was just the weather or all the walking around in the shop, but gosh, my legs were killing me at the end of last night, stepping over everything in that shop. And it's a lot of little stuff and climbing. I know that everything's bound to get done at some point, but sometimes these projects go on for days. Like I said, I was supposed to be shoveling manure in the barn. I'm not going to do it. I think I'd rather keep cleaning up that shop floor. I'm going to get myself a coffee and go out there. And I'll tell you, one of the nice things I did for myself, my sister gave me a stereo a long time ago for my daughter. And, you know, it's the kind with the detachable speakers, and it's, you know, pretty good size, but it only takes up a little corner of the shop. So I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna crank up some good old country music. Locally, we pick up Duke FM, and they play a lot of old classic country music, the good Waylon Jennings type stuff, and they play way too much Reba McEntire and Randy Travis for my taste. So I'm gonna hop some stones across the creek here. Give you a nice pretty shot of this place. I love it here. It's so nice. When I came over, there was a big sandhill crane just up the creek a little ways, and I startled them off. Yeah, just a couple little stones to hop over. There was a few stones there many years ago, and we threw in a few more to help us cross, because like right now my muck shoes have got a hole in the side, so try to stay up out of that. Can't cross it with the hole in your shoes right after a rain, because you'll get wet. I was fixing the hay rake teeth for him this morning, and Bethany came outside, and we offered to have her do some help with us. Handed her the wrenches, and she said, I can't. And her dad told her, there are two things I know. I can't and I can, and if you don't try, how are you going to know? The answer to both is, I will. The point is, if you don't try, how are you going to know? So we put those wrenches in her hand, and she started to learn today how to use wrenches for the first time. Every little girl's got to start somewhere, and every little boy does too. He must have got some broken bales. Another thing that I've learned, if you've got broken bales, just go ahead and throw them in the baler. If there's too many of them, just drive over them and bale them back up. Look at those colors behind him. So you know, normally we use the stack wagon and we come out here and we pick up all the bales. It's 105 a load. I don't have an area in the barn right now without moving the hay elevator. We have an empty storage trailer, a semi-trailer, and he said the best thing to do is collect all these, put them in a pile, and bring the storage trailer right here to the field. Because in the past, one of us has to drive the storage trailer with the semi. He's the truck driver. Now I can do it if he gets it in gear and all that, but shifting gears, going uphill, all that, it's just a lot of standing on that clutch, and I don't like to do it. So since there's such a high chance of rain, I just checked the weather again. It's going to be, it says tomorrow afternoon. We either have to do this in the morning before it rains and work like mad, and that sucks. I hate having to work super hard in the morning. And I've been taking it easy as far as cleaning out that shop today. So I think we're going to get this stacked up into piles and at least get it covered or loaded tonight. You have a bale tip! He stopped too hard so it fell over because of the slickness of the paint. If the bale gets shoved or turned not right, then it won't get through the pickup chute. So that's why he had to stop. This is the third load. He did 2 late last night, starting out early today. You can see here, this is the back table that I'm going to paint still, and how it loads up. I'll try to get up there so you can see when the whole table gets full. I think it's 5 rows that fits on the lower table before it tips up. I forget how many rows deep, but when they're in, it's 3 across and stacked 5 high. Kind of thought a little bit more about that graphite paint. It's close to the same price as the Rust-Oleum, and it needed paint one way or another, but I just didn't like the non-priming. I might as well just buy the Rust-Oleum primer and paint for that back table. I think I'm gonna pick up some supplies for that today. Sure. He says it's having some trouble. Come see.
What the deal is, we picked up in the middle of the night. It's dark, so I got my rounds off. See how the cuts of the bale are facing back?
Yeah.
I'm picking them up backwards.
Oh.
It doesn't like it. So what happens is the way
This is angled.
The way these flakes are. When you pick these up backwards, you don't want to send them over.
It's getting
grabbed.
Yeah.
Then you have to come up and push down on this to make sure that the first table levers down.
Yep.
So the first round I came in, there was exactly 15 bales in that row, and we never stopped. It just picked them up perfect the whole way. As soon as you turn around, come
Because you bailed them going that way.
I'm bailing them back. These last 2 rows, I'm ending up backwards. And the way that happens to you, you're in the dark. I knew I had 3 bales in a row over here, and I needed 3. So you kind of cheat. You're heading back towards the house. You pick up 3, finish your load, and you're done. And I did that on another load too. You kind of cheat. You go the wrong way like a little bit, and then you end up with these backwards rows.
I see.
So that's why you're supposed to follow the baler. However the baler went, they really don't like to go backwards. So
I didn't know that.
So if somebody buys one now, they know. They can save them a lot of grief to know this.
You're thinking something's out of adjustment, but it's just that you're loading them backwards.
No, there's a lot of things that can be out of adjustment on these.
Yeah, we just unloaded a load and found out we sheared a bolt off and lost a roller off of this back table, but it's kind of a secondary roller. And you can see, I mean, it's not super green. This is the first cutting stuff. So there was a lot of tall grass mixed with lower short grass. The tall grass was all, you know, this is what it is. So the area over here where it's more green, this was the second cutting. He said that's about 1.5 acres, and there's only 21 bales in it, so not a whole lot. I had a real unpleasant hay customer stop by this weekend letting me know what I should do and that I ought to get certified organic, and told me all about how he pays his organic certification company a percentage of every sale that goes off of his farm for eternity, as long as he wants to keep his certification, on top of what he had to pay for the certification. That didn't go over too well with me, and it certainly didn't go over too well with him when I told him about it after the fact. Hay customers, just coming by your hay and give me your money. The funny thing is, he's telling me how he's got his own hay crop and how he scalped it down trying to get a second or a third cutting, and there just wasn't enough there. And I thought, if you're a hay producer, why are you driving around the state? It was from way up north, like a 2-hour drive. Hour late getting here because he'd already been to other hay stops that didn't turn out for him. And then when he tells me my hay's not good enough, he saw I had a hay pile sitting in the yard, wanted to know if he could go check out that hay. My husband already told me ahead of time, save that hay, it's for the cows, all the stuff that's in the barn. I said, okay, fine. A hay sale's a hay sale, you know. So I told him, that hay's $2 more a bale. Oh, let's go check it out anyway. He turns around, goes back to his truck, and pulls out a moisture tester. Well, if people are baling hay, and you've got a big field as us, this guy's telling me he's farming 200 acres, blah, blah, blah. I was pissed all day after that. In fact, you can tell I'm still mad, and it was 2 or 3 days ago. I told you a long time ago, we started weeding out customers who want to come and look at hay by having a 5 bale minimum. Well, he didn't take his 5 bale minimum either. Showed up late, stayed for a half an hour, telling me about bullshit. I wasn't happy. One thing I noticed a lot with the hay customers, and there was another guy that was here a few days ago, he said, we've never dealt with a woman before. And I thought, you know, this is 2019. Number one, maybe hold your tongue. Save that comment for the wife after the fact. Again, come and get your hay, pay me the money, say thank you. There's a reason why a lot of hay customers are having to drive around all day long, 2 hours from their home base. See, it happened again. And this is what makes it slow at night, having to stop and fix that. I don't think he saw it. Guy! Hey, guy! I gotta run. Your first row tipped over. Maybe the graphite paste is going to be a downfall and make them tip over all the time. So over the years, I've learned a lot about hay. And last year I talked a little bit about hay acid. It's a preservative that you can put on your hay as it's going through the baler. It's mounted right on the baler. There's new versions of this hay acid that are supposed to be less corrosive to your equipment. I'm not entirely convinced about that because we've gone out and looked at used balers that are of this newer age, and I just don't think it's a great idea as far as you're putting chemicals on the hay and feeding it to your horses. I don't know if there is an organic hay acid. It seems like I saw there was that you could get. So you just have this mounted right on your hay baler with a moisture tester, and you can know, like, you can go out with a moisture tester right in the windrow like I had said and find out what your moisture content is. So if you are too high in moisture, the bales can get hot, they can get moldy. That video I made about the bale sweating, they were way too wet. That would have been a perfect load to have this hay acid. It just was not going to dry out, and it ended up that those bales got rained on. Like, they actually got rained on sitting out here on the field, and so they just needed to get out of here before they like killed the grass from the bales sitting on it. You know, that's the reason for keeping cows and pigs. They clean up all the waste hay. So for the added cost of adding hay acid to your crop and to the hay baler, unless there's an organic, then you can't be, you know, selling organic grass-fed beef, because one step off of organic, then your cows aren't organic. Now, we're not certified organic because of the expense. Now, to have an inspector come out, most of them were out of state, was going to cost, you know, $600, $800, $900 for them, for their travel. And they basically test your soil and whatnot. So this guy that shows up shows me he has to have a like a bill of lading filled out for every sale to keep track, pay in 4 times a year to this company. And you know, when you're selling hay, it's a cash crop. If I want to take it to an auction, or you know, have my kids sell a load, then I don't have to do any bookkeeping and keeping track for that. So it's a lot easier for me to just do it this way. And see, he got caught up on that one a bit. So you can see kind of a color difference there, where he's picking up the second cutting from the first cutting, because it had mature grasses in that. But it's still soft, it's still full of nutrition. And we have never had to reseed the fields just because of doing this late cutting. See, that's real nice and green. It's real soft, very grassy, good for old horses. So when I'm selling our hay, I sell it from whatever compartment or part of the barn, and the customers don't get to pick and choose what pile and what stack. Another farmer near us has a big stack wagon like us, and his barn, he can drive right into it and drop the stacks wherever. And he has had hay customers coming in, paying him $3 a bale for the hay, and they're picking and choosing what stack they want. And you know, you can't get kids to come and work on a farm, like, who are non-farmers, because back in the day, like this guy told us, you used to be able to pay kids $2 an hour to come out and help you load your hay on an actual flat hay wagon on a running gear, not the stack wagon stuff. When we first bought our farm, our big hip roof barn there's a small loft above the pig pens. I'm sorry, the wind is kicking up if that's bad. So that whole loft area above that pig pen was filled full of straw with these neighborhood kids, and he had to pay them like $7, $8 an hour, with straw being, you know, $2 and $3 a bale at the time. He basically ended up having to pay them about what it cost for half the load of straw for that first section. I don't remember how many bales we got, but you know, you kind of have to pick and choose this equipment that is frustrating, that you have to work on all the time, very high maintenance, just like your wives. And then they can still fail on you, just like your marriage. A lot of farming and similarities going on with farming and marriage. It takes a lot to be a farm wife, because, you know, if it rains, then somebody's grumpy or mad. There is a really good PBS video that we actually own it. I don't know how we came across it, and we ended up buying it because it's a good lesson to watch. It's called The Farmer's Wife, and it is probably from the early 90s. They had a terrible time with their farming operation, and they basically were too big, wouldn't downsize, had equipment payments, and still wanted to buy more land or buy and upgrade the equipment, and everything was delegated out. How much money, when you could pay it. They had creditors for years who were waiting on payment. And, you know, they're people in their neighborhood, and the whole thing was just really saddening. And in the end, you know, like it was such a strain on their marriage. That was a lot of it. It was talking about the bankruptcy issues and the marriage issues. Not a whole lot on the marriage issues, but you know, they shed light on it. So just interesting to watch and kind of see. If we feel down, boy, you watch that and you feel like you're doing so much better, because it is a reminder to not let like the want for farm equipment to get ahead of you. And we've noticed a lot, like with the YouTube channels, it seems like sometimes people go and buy equipment to make a new video, and bottom dollar, is it really going to be cost effective to the farm? So that's not something that I ever want to get into the habit of doing. Just buying new filming equipment. You know, I had to buy a couple of different camera mounts. I hate to spend the money on that, but, well, basically, the couple of pennies I get for every 1,000 views helps to pay for it. So I certainly don't make enough to fund for a tractor or new hay equipment. So we're going to keep things small and keep things in perspective. If you notice the sky, whenever we're making hay, we're always playing beat the clock with the rain, and it's supposed to rain today about 1:15. We're going to have about 400 bales to put away. This is going to not be quite one stack, which is a pain because you can't dump that wagon to unload if it's not totally full. So it has to be covered with a tarp or unloaded by hand. Now, we found a good thing to do is just add bales to it until it is full, even if you have to pull them from another pile off the ground, because that takes less time than trying to unload 90 bales by hand. Ooh, that one looks heavy. He's turning them around to make them face the right way, because they're getting hung up too much. Usually to pick up a load, it's a third of the time that he's been out here. But when you get little issues going on, that's just what happens. I sent Jack out to the field with him last night so I could keep working in the shop, doing my cleaning and organizing. And that way he got to walk around here and get some exercise. Last one is the one I was sitting on. The string was loose on it, and that'll pull the string right off when it loads. This is transport mode. Can I have a ride? What? Can I have a ride? gotta hang on. Oh. Okay, so total here we have 3 loads that have been unloaded. We took the last, I guess, 2 rows that needed to be on here. We had about 3 rows here, so 2, 9, I don't know. We were short about 20 bales on that load. So we just added them right over here onto this first table. It won't work with this transport mode, so that's back down. Got it all loaded, so now it can self-unload. That probably took less than 5 minutes to do that. For me to hand unload this, it takes over a half an hour, like half hour, 45 minutes. So my other hay pile from last week is covered back up. I had it airing out from it sweating for at least the last 3 or 4 days. And this is what I've got to do. So he's got to get this unloaded, get it parked. He said his hydraulic pump isn't on, or he's got something, I don't know. Sometimes he leaves me out of education. But this is our hay elevator. It can run off of a PTO, which we don't like to do, or it can run off the hydraulics. So we always just hook it up with the hydraulics. It's a lot nicer to run it that way. And we're gonna finish filling that loft. Yeah, unloaded. You're supposed to be able to stack it against a wall and it stays perfectly stacked. This is a pusher. There's another one also. He actually took this off because it was getting hung up and the other one got bent. That's good! So I'll show you it unstacking. Now this isn't a proper unstacking because the pushers are off. They make prop-up poles. We've used lumber to prop them up to keep from falling in the past. It's a lot of work. I like dumping them just out here in the yard. One day we'll have a big building, but you're looking at, 16 feet high at least to do that. So they just kind of fall. Keep the kids out. They're all inside. Most of them are still asleep. And we always knock the stack down so that it doesn't fall later on, because that's a lot of weight. Isn't that nice? And actually, they like to come out here. They do their version of parkour, and they jump from bale to bale and have a great time. So I got to help him pull these last few off. But yeah, that's that. See, right, there's 2 sets of rollers right there. There's supposed to be 2 here, so I got to keep my eye out for that second roller. I just don't know. Didn't find it when we unloaded, but we found the sheared off bolt. We are at the end of another haymaking day. He's out there cutting hay tonight because it's supposed to be clear until Sunday. I just wanted to talk about the certified organic thing and wrap up the video. When people ask us, is it certified organic? Most people in our area know that farmers around here have organic practices without being certified organic. My voice is a little scratchy because I've had a big load out today, and those trailers, raccoons get in there and that top layer gets covered with poo. I know a lot of people say, what's the big deal with the raccoons? But they poop all over your hay, your layer of straw in your barn. They make homes, they tear open bales. They are also chicken killers, so I have no regrets over ever trapping and killing any raccoons ever, because they're a part of this nature and this farm life, and if you just let them go wild, they are going to multiply in huge bursts and you're not going to be able to control the numbers. So the next time you're making hay or having a hay sale and a customer asks you, are you certified organic? Tell them yes, certified by you. I, Mommy Milestones, certify that this hay is organic. If you look at my fields and the person who didn't want my hay that day said, you've got all this green in all your fields, I can tell that you're growing organic, you really should get certified, blah, 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 wah, wah, wah. You know, they talk about those hippie tears with all those diesel engines. There's a bunch of hippie tear whining about being certified organic, because I guarantee everyone else in my area that's selling hay for the same price I'm selling hay are not certified. In our area, people are dousing their hays with hay acid. They're putting it up wet, if they're even getting it put up at all. So he's out there doing a first cutting in a field that never got touched due to his work schedule. It's crazy. Another viewer left a comment that I don't need a tractor and that I need to not send him out and going and killing himself. I'll tell you, he's not going out to work at his job killing himself for me. I remind him every day, you can quit any day you want, you can retire. He's killing himself for his customers and for the other side of the family. If work is killing him or he's killing himself because of work, it's for his customers, not for me, not for the kids. We are the least demanding people you could ever meet. And as my neighbor always says, the most understanding wife ever. That bus hasn't gone in 2 months. I've been driving that Dodge back and forth to the store. The house project has been on hold, but tons of farming stuff is getting done around here. All that hay got put up. They said 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock rain. All in all, it ended up raining probably about 12 o'clock. We beat it. We got the last probably 10 bales still sitting out as the sprinkles were starting. I brought them all in here. They're all in. The stuff that was green, I didn't want to stack it, so it's just sitting out on the dry floor. I checked it for temperature. It's been great. I finished up my manure pile today in the last of the old pig stalls. So all that storage can keep coming further over to the full width of the barn. And we've got the whole loft up above. So plenty of hay storage. Lots going on. So keep watching to see what's going to happen next. You never know, right? Thanks for watching, everybody, for this video. Remember to hit the thumbs up button, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.